Good afternoon. We are live at 1 this Friday, celebrating the Central Pennsylvania Theater and Dance Festival, which is virtually coming to you live June 11th through the 13th. I'm Elaine Meter-Wogus. I'm one of the co-founders of the festival, and today it is my extreme honor to spend some time in our Zoom studio here today on StreamYard with Shannon Bishop. Shannon is a professional Egyptian-style dancer based in State College, Pennsylvania, and the artistic director of Black Cat Belly Dance, Central Pennsylvania's only dance school devoted to Egyptian dance. Since 2006, she has been the region's only instructor of Egyptian Raqs Sharqi, which is a translation for belly dance, as well as Raqs Baladi and the folkloric dances of Egypt and the Middle East, including Saidi, Fahali, and many more. We're going to let Shannon tell us more about that. So I introduce to you Shannon Bishop. Welcome, Shannon. So great to see you in our studio, and I see you are there in your studio.
Yes, I'm here in Black Cat Studio. This is where I've been teaching, like most people, I've been teaching online for over a year now. So this is where all of the magic has been happening.
That's fantastic. And it is, in fact, magic. I've had the pleasure of seeing so many of your performances over the years, Shannon, as have many in our region, either at the Greek in the before times and at Central Pennsylvania, obviously Theater and Dance Festival, also the Arts Festival and the People's Choice Festival. So it leads me to the first question here, Shannon. Why belly dance? I mean, what led you specifically to this art form?
That's such an interesting question, Elaine, because I get that question all the time because I'm totally a Central Pennsylvania girl. I'm not from Egypt. I don't have Egyptian blood, but really I fell in love with the music of this region of the world. And really, the dance is such a reflection of the music that for me, that was what really drew me in. I started with some more American styles of belly dance, but the more I heard Arabic music, the more it just really spoke to me. And one of the things I love so much about this art form is the wealth of musical styles, the complexity of some of the music. It's really been the music that's kept me really engaged. You know, I always say too that I teach music and dance classes because the music is such a big part of the art form.
Absolutely. And I know that, you know, Shabi is one of the forms that you dance in and teach. Mm-hmm. And it's got such a live and like just such a connection to the like current culture of Egypt, as well as some of the older forms that you specialize in your teaching, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's so much beautiful classic music that's been produced in Egypt over the decades, for hundreds of years. But Shabi music is like the modern, I think of it as like the modern heartbeat, especially of Cairo. You know, when I think about the music that the taxi drivers are going to play when you're stuck for 45 minutes trying to get from like here to there in Cairo, it's the Shabi music that's so much fun. And it's really the music of the people. And, you know, the people of Egypt are just so wonderful every time I visit there that, you know, that's really represented in that music.
Yeah. And you mentioned Cairo. You have traveled extensively through Egypt and are making annual trips now, and as well as taking others on wonderful dance fueled experiences through the country. Can you share some of your favorite memories of that?
Yeah. Well, there are so many. I mean, Egypt is magical, and there's a reason why people feel that way. Even if they've never been there, they can feel that connection to Egypt. You know, one of the things that's really important to me in this art form, for the reason I mentioned earlier, that I'm not from the culture, is to stay very engaged with the culture and to really support the artists there, to support the dancers, the musicians, and to try to connect as many people from here to the wonders of that culture. So I think of myself as a bit of a bridge. And so I'm always learning from that culture and then trying to share that. So some of the most magical moments have been just taking people there, letting them feel that crazy traffic and the improvisation of the taxi drivers from one place to another translates to the improvisational nature of this dance. And I mean, I have one of my memories that I'll probably treasure for the rest of my life is performing on some of the Nile cruise ships. And, I had a really amazing opportunity to do that, of course, with live musicians.
Yeah.
And, I'll always remember the moment of feeling them playing behind me and the audience, all around me and looking out the window behind them as we sailed down the Nile and watching the banks of the Nile go by. I mean, for me, that's something that's incredibly precious that I'll always remember.
Absolutely. And you bring that same joy and exuberance and those fond memories, like you said, to the people that you're working with here in central Pennsylvania. I mean, you also travel the East Coast pretty extensively, obviously, prior to the pandemic,
Right.
Taking classes, meeting new instructors, working with some of the best dancers in the world. I mean, they're personal friends of yours.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really lucky to have such amazing dance friends, like you said, quite literally all over the world. And I should note that Webster's has hosted a number of those dancers over the years too. And it's always been such a great setting because it feels like a little piece of Egypt because it's cozy and, we're able to interact with the audience. That's a big part of Egyptian dance is the connection with the audience. And it's a piece that is sometimes misunderstood here, I think, where we tend to value dance performances more when they're up on a stage and it's more formal. But in this style of dance, the dance changes when that happens because it's very much meant to stay very connected to the audience. They are part of the show. And if you're lucky enough to have live musicians with you, even more so, it's like you're all having this experience together, which is why I dance in places like restaurants and clubs and sometimes weddings, because it's very much meant to be something that everybody can participate in. And that's the downside of being online this last year was, missing a little bit of that connection.
Yeah, because you have often spoken about that being such an integral part of the dance, of the culture, and of the style itself. And are there other parts of, belly dance? It's easy to we don't need to talk about some of the misunderstandings, but what do you think that audiences hear? Like if they're coming to see a performance of yours or someone else, what do you want them to understand about belly dance?
Well, I'd like them to be able to leave the stereotypes at the door. I always say, first of all, a really kind of silly thing that happened a long time ago was that the dance got the name belly dance. And unfortunately, it has stuck. It's such a terrible name for a dance. My students have heard me say over the years many times, it's like calling ballet the foot dance. It really strips it of all of not just the other physical parts of it, but also all of that rich musical tradition and, the complexity of the dance. So I hope when audiences come, they're able to leave some of those outdated stereotypes at the door, of what they've seen in like an old James Bond movie or something. Belly dance. Right. I hope that they'll leave my show. I mean, I work really hard to show the diversity of musical styles. I focus on Egypt, but there's a lot of music coming from other countries, throughout the Middle East. I just specialize in Egypt, but I'd hope audience would hear, the classic, beautifully orchestrated love songs. They'd hear the really fun, modern, shabby songs. I always put a little bit of folklore in my shows. So I hope that they would feel like the joy of the music, the joy that I have dancing around, sometimes waving a giant stick or a veil or whatever. And maybe leave with maybe a different idea of maybe what they came in thinking it would be. I think a lot of people have, like I said, some images of belly dance that just aren't all that accurate. Not anymore, anyway. Yeah.
Right. And I think it helps to give audiences, an understanding and permission that it's really wonderful how you said it's part of the performance is actually the connection to the audience. So when someone comes to see your show or another show, you are allowed to be present. People often clap along with the music.
I love that.
What's that?
I love that. I love
Yeah.
when they can sing along too.
Right? Isn't that, that's pretty special, I'm sure. Yeah. And I'm sure it's extra special when they actually clap along correctly to the beat. But you get past that, right?
That helps
Exuberance
too, right?
Exuberance is number one.
Yeah.
I've always been intrigued by the connection that this dance has, particularly to women. I think that your teachings, your classes, and your performances are very, positive to women and to our enjoyment, of this art form. And I think I honor you for that sort of like joy that you allow us to feel in the room with you.
Well, I appreciate that. It's important to me to keep that really social, supportive aspect of the dance. We're dancing a dance that is just very much a social dance that everybody participates in. We're doing a stage version of it. And so I always want to have anybody who wants to dance with me, once they get to level 2 or higher, they can perform with me. And also I've had men dance with me too. So, it's a great community for women, but of course we welcome men as well into the classes.
Yeah. And children.
Yeah.
Because they're just adorable, right?
Yes.
I know you have some, young children who would get up and dance with you when you were dancing at the Greek, a local restaurant. And
I love that.
Yeah. They just sense, the excitement, and they hear the music, right? It's beautiful music. So
yeah. And the little girls love the costumes usually too.
Yeah.
So that's always fun. Plus, I always love when kids dance with me because, inevitably I come out and there's someone there who isn't expecting the belly dancer to come out, right?
Yeah.
So they're eating dinner and they're like, what's happening? Right? Because, dinner entertainment isn't that common here, right?
Yeah.
So, but when the little kids get up and dance with me, I love it, but I also feel like everybody kind of exhales a little bit like, okay, it is family friendly.
Yeah,
and it's,
absolutely.
we can all have a good time with it. Yeah. So I love that.
Very powerful message. I know I had the pleasure of attending a dance performance that you were in, many other dancers were. And one of my favorites, besides yours, of course, was a young man whose name I can't remember, but he did a folkloric dance and it was amazing. It was so much fun and just beautiful to watch. So, it is an art form that men participate in as well. So
I love seeing men dance. I just love it. Yeah.
There's sort of innate strength and, it is, again, speaks to this idea of this is dance that is very much to be shared,
Absolutely.
And I think that, I commend you for doing that as an instructor, but also not just an instructor of the dance moves themselves, but of the culture and the music, as you say. I know you're such a fan of, the Egyptian music, that music of that region. I believe you're taking Arabic lessons as well.
Oh my gosh, Arabic is so hard. I have been. So, of course, we never dance to music unless we know the lyrics, right? That's so important. And the lyrics are really fun or they're really beautiful. So I want to know the lyrics. And I have a lot of great translators that I work with, but I've been taking Arabic lessons since, informally some classes here and there, but formally since last August. And I swear I think it's harder for me now than it was then. Before I got by on my taxi driver Arabic, like making the taxi drivers laugh and picking out some words in songs. But yeah, I've been taking lessons formally since last August, and it's hard. Dasab, that's what I say to my instructor.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, you've had the back hat belly dance since what year did you start that?
Well, I started teaching and kind of started the business around 2006.
Hmm.
So it's been quite a while. It's hard to believe I've been teaching for about 16 years
I
now.
know, right? And you have a
No.
lot of, um, of your students are from all over the region. And I know that this last year has been hard teaching virtually and online, but the adjustment has sort of allowed you to bring in students that maybe you wouldn't normally have, or that couldn't
Yes.
come during a snowstorm or
Absolutely. It's been wonderful. I have students now taking classes, people who studied with me years ago and who moved away, who are back in class now. And, I'll have someone come and she thinks her sister will like the class. So her sister in North Carolina joins us. And so, once we're back in person again, which I hope isn't too much longer, I'm hoping to be able to keep a hybrid. I've got this whole setup.
Mhm.
so,
Yeah.
um, so I'd like to put it to good use, but also just keep more people connected. So I plan to be able to keep doing that.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and in addition to that sort of hybrid model and obviously live performances, what are your goals for the next 5 years, let's say?
Well, obviously, I would love to keep performing. I mean, I miss performing for people. I keep saying at some point I'll give that up of my own accord, but I don't want to, I'd love to still have a few more years of being able to do that, of course. I'd really like to see more people traveling with me. COVID, of course, put the brakes on that, but I think there's so much that people can gain, not just dancers, but Egypt just has so much to offer. The people are incredible. The history there for dancers, just to feel, the live music and what that's like. It for sure made me a much better dancer. It's made me a better teacher. So if I can keep connecting people in that way, I'm planning to take a group this November. Inshallah, God willing.
Mhm.
So that's coming together. I'm actually leaving 3 weeks from today to head there. So it's a big trip. I was supposed to take a group last November. So I'm kind of making up some lost time and making some plans. So I'd like to just be able to keep building on some of those things. So hopefully
Yeah.
that'll continue.
And you are taking people over there, obviously after the, like this November trip, probably annually at least, correct?
Yeah, that's how it's been working out. I mean, there's so much to see, and I've been really blessed to have so many people who keep going back with me
Yeah.
because there's always something. There's always something. So I'm taking, like I said, dancers and non-dancers alike. That's been really good. So
Yeah. And people could get information about that from your website, which is showing up there, Black Hat Belly Dance.
yes,
I guess Black Hat dash belly dance
bellydance.com.
dot
Yes, you can find
com.
me there. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Or on
Fantastic.
Facebook, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. And I absolutely cannot wait till I can see you dance live. I know you've been performing with dancers all over the world in many virtual shows over the past year. That's been exciting, I'm sure. Some people that you might not have had an opportunity to dance with
Mhm.
all at the same time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. With dancers all over the country. I've done shows that were being broadcast in Cairo with people there and connecting here. I mean, that's been really amazing. And that's what has actually inspired me for putting together my show for this festival.
Yeah.
And so I suppose that's a good segue to talk about.
It's almost like I was going to ask you, what are your
It's
plans
almost
for
like you
this
were setting
year's?
me up for that.
I
Yes.
know.
So I've always, since the festival started, I've always done a show and had a showcase of some dancers. Last year, when the festival was virtual, I had some great dance friends from around the East Coast participate in the show. That was amazing. And this year, I thought this is the year that I can really connect with some of these amazing dancers in Egypt because we're online. When else am I going to have them here? And so my friend Zara is an incredible dancer in Cairo, working dancer, and she's been hosting monthly events to support so many of the musicians and dancers in Egypt who haven't been working at all this past year. So she's done so much to support the community there. I thought she's the perfect person to connect with for my show. So She's really helped me to pull together an amazing lineup of dancers. We've got folkloric dancers. We've got 2 incredible male dancers, one who's going to be dancing Saidi, one who's going to be dancing Tenora. We have an all-female folkloric troupe. A great friend of mine from the East Coast also is going to be in the show. I'm dancing, of course. And Zara is going to be headlining because she's a major star. So I'm so excited about this show. It's an undertaking, you know, pulling people together from all over the world. But I'm so lucky and so excited to be able to showcase some of these artists of the culture that here in Pennsylvania, in the central Pennsylvania, I mean, we just would not have the opportunity to see. So I'm really, really excited. And biting my nails until it's all ready.
Yeah, right. Because I know it is quite an undertaking, and technology and all of those things aside. You know, when we started planning the festival, we weren't sure would be able to go live. So we did just make the decision to go virtual this year. So I'm glad that you turned that into an opportunity again, Shannon. We so look forward to your performance, not just yours, but all of the amazing dancers that you're bringing together. And I promise everyone it is going to be a tremendous show. Shannon and Black Hat Belly Dance is going to be one of the headliners of this year's Central Pennsylvania Theater and Dance Festival. It will be happening virtually June 11th through the 13th. I do want to take a moment to remind you that we are live at 1 o'clock every Friday and Tuesday until the festival goes in June. We also want to take a moment and talk about a dance challenge, Dance Out Loud. Shannon, you've prepared or will be preparing some of that choreography that you'll be teaching to people online. And it's sort of a dance challenge that we're asking people to do at home, and we'll come together during the festival and make that happen, correct?
Yes, it's going to be super fun.
Awesome. So people will have a chance to kind of learn some of what you do. And again, dancers and non-dancers, correct?
Yes, I've kept it really simple, which is actually the beauty of Egyptian dance. Overcomplicated doesn't work anyway. So it's going to be really simple. Anybody can participate. It'll be a 4-week challenge, really short videos where you can learn some technique, and we're going to put it all together and then hopefully get to dance it together the weekend of the festival.
Excellent. And that is starting May 17th. And we have many other dancers from the area teaching different styles. So I hope that people take advantage of that aspect of the festival this year. The festival is presented by Tempest Productions. And I remind you that during Center Gives next week, May 11th and 12th, Tempest presents the Central Pennsylvania Theater and Dance Fest. We'll be asking for your generous gifts so we can bring this festival to you, not just this year, but for years to come. Your investment in the arts will come back to you tenfold, I promise. So Shannon, it has been a pleasure to see you this afternoon. I especially appreciate your studio's decor and the oud in the corner. That's amazing. I know the story of how you got that here. So we'll be live again on Tuesday at 1 o'clock. And I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in live with us, or you can, maybe you're watching this broadcast later. But the important thing is you're here and we are too. Thank you so much. Bye.